All right, so today's topic is, does cold calling work? I get that question all the time from new agents, new investors, is does cold calling actually work? Well, you about to find out about it. So does cold calling work? So I've made a lot of cold calls. I mean, probably over 10,000 of them. I'm not proud of it, but when you're new in the business, you have no money, and you got to make something happen. It's just you have to do what you have to do. It's not the most fun thing in the world. I mean, it's not something that I just absolutely love to do. Like, I can't wait to just cold call somebody. I can wait. I can wait as long as I want. But so the question is, does cold calling work? So what does work mean? So does cold calling work? Well, I mean, if you're running a business, and let's just say you're running a real estate business and you are generating leads and off-market property owner leads by cold calling these property owners, I would say my first piece of advice is to make a system out of it, because it does work. I've gotten results from cold calling, but it's a numbers game. You can't get so lost in your head when you're reaching out to these people about, the negative reactions you get on the phone, because you are calling them out of the blue in the middle of probably something they have going on, and they're having a bad day, and there's a lot of things that are out of your control. But building a system around it. And what I mean by that is that, I had gotten to a point where I realized that I needed to make 400 calls to get one sale or to find one deal. So that's your numbers right there. So if you need to do 10 deals a year, you need to make 400 times 10, 4,000 calls. And 4,000 calls, well, how many days are you working? You're working 5 days a week, for 50 weeks out the year. So you're working 250 days out the year. You take 4,000 calls divided by 250, and then that's how many calls you have to make a day. And then you track that down, and then you know that at 10 deals will net you $50,000 in gross income. Well, there you go. I need to make, 4,000 calls a year to give me $50,000 in income, and I can make, 10 to 15 a day. So there you go. You got it broken down into a system. And then once you have it down into a system to where you know your numbers, really start focusing on leveraging that out. You don't, as a business owner, you don't want to be the one that's cold calling. I mean, I know business owners that do it, but in my personal opinion, when you're just cold calling all the time, it kind of feels like you have a glorified job. And you didn't get into business to have a job. You could have gotten a job if you wanted a job. So once you figure out those numbers, how to replicate that and systematize it and push it out, because it is something that is, able to be systematized. And then push that out. Try direct mail. Direct mail is a great way to systematize your off-market lead generation. That's what I started doing. After about a couple of years, I just got sick of making cold calls all the time. I mean, it really just beats you down over time. And, and it really made me feel like I was running, I was employing myself. Like I was just working a job, and it became more so about, I got to make my 15 calls today. Well, why am I making those 15 calls? What's my vision? What's my purpose behind it? You lose that purpose. I equate cold calling in a real estate business, to say you're a person that sees this massive ocean and you want to build a stream that attaches from where you are at right here all the way to the ocean, so you get a constant water supply to you. So what you do is you realize you have to dig a huge ditch, build a stream from this ocean all the way to you. So you only have yourself. In this scenario, you only have yourself. So what you do is you go get a shovel, you get some dirt, and you start digging, and you start digging, you start digging, you start digging, and you start realizing, well, I just know that I dug 5 feet today further, 5 feet deep, 5 feet wide, 5 feet long today. And it took me 6 hours to do that. And it was like 400 times that I had to shovel into the dirt to get it. So you start breaking that down, and how many days it's going to take you to build that stream. And what happens is you forget why you were building that stream in the first place, because what's going to happen is you're going to be like, I'm so sick of putting this damn shovel and shoveling this dirt. I'm sick of it. And all you're thinking about is that next shovel pit, next shovel. And you're not thinking about the big vision. Cold calling is the fastest way to lose that vision, I feel like, because you get so enamored with the numbers and the system. Once you build that system, find a way to push it out. I don't know whether you have to do voicemail drops with the system, some other robocall, or make sure it's legal. Direct mail is the best way, because when you're doing direct mail, you're marketing to people, and the only people that call back are motivated property owners. They're easier to talk to because they're calling you. Although you reached out with a letter, they're calling you. So that means they're more motivated than someone that you just reached out to and tried to follow up with and see if they're interested in selling. You'll be dealing with a lot of tire kickers. So cold calling does work. You will get results. I think it's great for your first 6 to 12 months of business if you're in it to really get some fast results. But after that, once you build that system, try direct mail, try hiring somebody to make those calls, because you have to be focusing on strategy at some point. Why are we making these calls? What's the efficiency of them? Looking at the numbers, what are we saying on the phone and things like that. That's what you should be worrying about, instead of always being the person with the shovel in their hand. Start hiring people to shovel for you. And that's my advice on cold calling. It works, but learn how to systematically approach it. Learn how to outsource it after time, because you will get burnt out on it. And it can feel like over time that you're really just having a glorified job. So that's my opinion on cold calling from somebody that's made over 10,000 of them in a really short period of time, is that learn how to outsource it, learn how to build a system, learn how to run a business. And cold calling is a great way to start. I don't think it's a great way to run a business. So that's just my opinion. So that's what we got on cold calling today. If y'all have any questions or concerns, feel free to reach out to me, or be on the lookout for my next video. I'm probably going to recap my first 2 years in this business, and it'll be similar to a Michael Myers Halloween movie, no doubt. Freddy Krueger, all them first 2 years in the business was insane. So stay tuned for the next episode.